it's a lot going on in today's society, the world. We got COVID-19 going on. You're an
Hmm.
interesting guy because you and I kind of we share a lot of the same ideology on various topics. One being, our state in America. The way that the media outlets are trying to brainwash the masses. I want to talk to you about because it's interesting. You actually worked for Trump on his campaign, his
I
2016
was
campaign, right?
I was the only Muslim hired by Steve Bannon on the Trump campaign, and if you looked at my team, and what we did was a lot of social media response. We also did some big data work, so we actually built one of the algorithms that helped win Ohio. And I lost a lot of friends over this. I lost a lot of relationships, some business, just because people were like, "How dare you do that?" But no one's ever really asked, a brown person, like, what's your perspective? Like, what do you
Sure.
think? What do you support? And I mean, I kind of looked at it this way. John Kerry had basically destabilized our foreign policy and was running around trying to get American corporations involved in like, things that the military should be doing. Hillary Clinton had gone and destabilized Libya, and it's gotten worse now. And I've done a bunch of research, and I've published a bunch in army journals on, this is what ISIS is, this is how we have to stop them, this is what their recruiting methods are online. And it's not really taken. It wasn't taken seriously under the Obama administration. It's being taken more seriously under the Trump administration. I mean, we had his first state visit was to Saudi Arabia. Do you understand? As like someone who's
Hmm.
part Saudi, like, and just American Muslim, like, this is a big
That's
gesture.
big. Yeah.
He helped get a 55 country coalition together against terrorism. If you look at the big issues, I did an anti-human trafficking fundraiser at the Women's National Republican Club well, no, that's a couple months ago. Um, and you know, I talked to a lot of my Democrat counterparts, and their issues are really kind of the same issues for 30 years, but there's no policy implemented. And I mean, if you look at what Talcum X, Sean, what's his name, Sean, the head of Black Lives Matter, the guy's not even black.
That's a different rabbit hole, man.
Right, right. But no, no, no. Look at what he said on his Twitter yesterday. Okay, so he said basically for 8 years, Obama made nice, hugged people, talked about stuff, but there was no change, there were no arrests, there was no impact. Right.
Yeah.
The same thing goes about Klobuchar. This officer that ended up killing, um, you know, uh, the George Floyd. They had the opportunity to prosecute him a couple of times. So
Yeah, yeah, he's had 18 different charges, man, or whatever you want to call it, against him. So he's definitely a brainiac.
and what I think, I mean, my message is kind of simple. Look, I'm the Republican district leader for the 70th Assembly in Harlem. I am a co-chair of the Harlem Republican Club, which is also chaired by a Dominican brother and a black sister who's half black, half Latino, right? And I basically account for the Muslim population up here, and our population is Somali, Nigerian, Ghanan. You've got a little bit of Bangladeshi, maybe a little bit of Southeast Asian, but and then also indigenous, natural-born Black American Muslims that have been around, since the dawn of time. I mean, people forget that, like, we've got Union Theological Seminary, which is right over the hill up by Columbia, and they used to get the Muslim dock workers back in the 1800s to do the translations of the Bible, because some of these guys were the only ones that spoke Aramaic. Okay.
Hmm.
And if you start looking at like what the relationships have been with the Muslim community, I mean, you get 20,000 slaves buried down, near where Ground Zero was, right? And a good chunk of those were Muslim. And then
Yep.
the problems of what we've had to deal with as American Muslims since 9/11, because you know what? These dudes, no one knows who those dudes were just from an American perspective. I mean, but we get lumped in with these people in sort of this like big monolith all the time.
If you want to see more videos and interviews like this from influential people in tech, finance, and sports, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell to be alerted. And go a step further and join the YouTube membership area for early releases of videos like this. I'm out of here. Ha!